Do you ever experience a sense of lack even when surrounded by abundance? This is a fairly common experience. Now, I want to make it really clear that I don't want to downplay the suffering of not having our needs met. So, say for example, we have a strong need for companionship and we're feeling lonely. It's really important to embrace that feeling, to honour that feeling and notice that there's something you would love to have that you don't have. So the purpose of this video is not to kind of downplay the suffering of lack, but is simply to offer the opportunity to kind of reevaluate our relationship to that sense of lack. So sometimes we focus on the negative, right? So the idea of like a glass is half empty rather than half full. So sometimes we can become habituated to focusing on what we don't have rather than what we do have. Again, I don't want to get into toxic positivity here, but I just want to recognize the possibility that some of my interpretations, some of my thought patterns are not recognizing the good that there is in a situation, but are instead focusing on the negative. So we all have a thing called negativity bias that's kind of built into us. But some people have it much more strongly than others, and it can be something that we either cultivate or that we actually find an antidote for to some extent through one of the main practices, obviously, of practicing gratitude. Now, the trouble with practicing gratitude is, again, a lot of people that advocate gratitude are shortcutting, in my opinion, the reality of the suffering of lack. Okay, so I don't want to be like, just be grateful for everything. So say you're suffering with like some bereavement or some illness that you're struggling with. It's kind of disingenuous to tell people to just focus on the positive. That's not what I'm saying here. But I'm saying if we fully embrace the experience of lack, then we can also at the same time, so this is like getting out of the binary thinking, like either or. It's like at the same time as noticing our loneliness or our sense of lack in whatever area it is, whatever need is at play, at the same time we can recognize ways in which it is actually met. So it may be that we're feeling very lonely and we feel that no one's looking out for us, whatever our interpretation is on that situation. But in kind of buying into that interpretation too much, we might actually fail to notice the people that are showing up for us in various ways, even though it might not be the way that we would hope for ideally. There still may be ways in which people show up, even if it's just like, not to blow my own trumpet here, but, content creators, right, who actually help you to, navigate your experience. A lot of them are doing that out of a kind of generosity. It's like, I'm very unlikely to make any money from this video, but if it helps someone, then, maybe that's some way in which that sense of lack can be balanced with people out there that may care about me, that may want to help me. I certainly find, thinking about the number of Buddhists in the world who are deliberately, specifically, praying or practicing for, the end of all suffering for all beings. It's just a great thought. There's people sitting there wishing me well. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy. And they're just doing it. And all around the world, there's people who are doing that. Right now, they're sitting there. They're doing practices to try and, alleviate your suffering. Whether they believe it happens through some kind of esoteric mechanism or whether it's just, just knowing that people are doing that can really benefit us. So there's that. And then there's a couple of other things. So meditation, if you've got any kind of meditation tools, I do a thing called inner dissolving. Also, it's kind of like another way of looking at it is like somatic. I mean, I get it from a quite rare tradition. So like Dzogchen from the Bon tradition of Tibet has a practice where you hold your suffering, you hold your kind of uncomfortable sensations in a spacious, luminous, warm hug. So you kind of give yourself that holding of that experience of lack, and that in itself can create a sense of fullness. So that's one. This is going down an esoteric road, so if you're not into esoteric stuff, I may have said everything that's relevant up to this point in the video, but if you are into esoteric stuff, continue watching, right? So there's also a Sanskrit mantra that goes like this: Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamiva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is basically an ode to fullness, an ode to completeness. It basically translates as that is complete, this is complete, this proceeds from that, taking this away from that, that remains complete. So it's kind of talking about the kind of infinitude of completeness or fullness. And then Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, peace, peace, peace. So that's a really nice mantra, which I find really helps me to connect with a sense of fullness. And that's partly just habituation. It's like I've come to associate that mantra with feeling full. And so whenever I do the mantra, I'm like, oh, I feel quite full, you know. I'm more focused on fullness than lack. You know? So that's one spiritual approach to it. Another one is from the Sacred Warrior Seed Syllables from Tibetan Bon, which I got from Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche. The second of those seed syllables is Om, and it's at the throat chakra. So Om. So you place your awareness at the throat chakra, you chant Om, and you try to contact a sense of fullness, a sense of completeness. There is nothing missing. So there it is. There's a few kind of tips and tricks, tools that you can use to work with a sense of lack in your life. I hope you find them helpful. You may well have some of your own. If so, please share them in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.